Hello, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Tuesday Night Thunder, race 12 of Season 5, and it is the final race before the playoffs. A lot of drivers in jeopardy here tonight. Some drivers still in the fight for the regular season championship. We're going to have it all covered for you here on PGR eSports. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You're watching Austin Green. All right, well, we noted we got a good one here tonight. A lot of big storylines and quite a stacked field at that as well. Almost 30 drivers. In fact, I think we did hit 30 just before qualifying was complete. So we'll talk about that and some of the playoff standings, along with where drivers, in terms of the drivers in the fight for the regular season championship, currently stand as well after we get down trackside and get things kicked off with tonight's starting grid. Taking the pole, it's going to be one of the Contender Series drivers. It's Garrett Maines in the 30 machine, puts down a 54.244. Malik Ray runs a lap that's just 2 1,000ths off of Garrett's, so he will start on the outside pole in second. Then it's Ethan Eckert in the number 12 machine back in third. Devin Ray for the Jack Shack to his outside in fourth. Cody Nagels, who we saw come up so close but just a little bit short last week, he'll start back in the fifth spot. Landon Velicki in sixth. Trevor Osranoff in seventh for the Jack Shack. Adam Kilday, good to see him making a part-time start here tonight. He will roll off from the eighth spot. Richard Elliott back in ninth for BAR. And it's Matt Lee, another one of the Nightmare eSports drivers. He will round out the top 10. Jason Maines, he makes a return here tonight. Good to see him back in the field. In the 24 car, he will start 11th with John Mullahan to his outside in 12th. Moving on back to row number 7, it's going to be Jared Haynes for the Jack Shack alongside Ken McCullough Jr. for McCullough Motorsports. Matthew Baker, the captain for NBG Motorsports, starts in 15th. Chase Mastretta in the number 8 car starts to his outside in 16th. Jeff Merck back in 17th. Boy, that is a driver that really needs a good night tonight if he wants to advance into the playoffs. Steve Sizemore starts back in 18th. Mark Vondell, another driver sitting right around that cut line. He needs a good run here tonight. He will start 19th. And Dawson Wise, also known as Microphone Boy, he will start in the 20th position. Andrew Navarro starts back in 21st. Chris Walker rolls off 22nd. It's going to be Mike Davenport back in 23rd. Logan York, he rolls off from the 24th spot. Moving on back to the 25th position, it's Dylan Jones. Kyler Wynn, the Canadian driver in the field, to his outside in 26th. Then it's Joshua McCullough from McCullough Motorsports back in 27th, with Brock Westmoreland in 28th. Christopher McCullough 29th, and Jimmy Emos will round out your field, and he starts 30th here tonight. All right, well, as we start to bring things down trackside, let's take a look at your race info. Again, it is race number 12, final race of the regular season. We're back in the Xfinity cars, 60 laps to distance, 40% fuel, 3 sets of tires, no fast repair. You got that fixed setup. Well, I should say you don't have that fast repair. Fixed setups as always, and of course that stage brake that will be on lap 20. And so stage point's still going to be a very important component to this race for a lot of drivers here tonight. Weather outside, 75 degrees, 37% humidity. Clear skies, winds at 6 miles an hour. And looks like starting track temp for this 2.65 mile super speedway oval is going to be just under 100 degrees. So handling shouldn't be as bad as we've certainly seen in some races. But as these tires wear out, track temp doesn't really matter because it's still going to start to become a handful as we get late in a tire run. All right, here we go. The iRacing.com pace car going to make that left turn down to the pits for the first time here tonight. And for the final time in the regular season, we will work our way into the Geico restart zone. And here we go. Green flag is in the air. We are underway in race 12 at Talladega. And it's a good restart from your front two. Malik Ray and Garrett Maines, they'll lead the charge off into turn 1 as everybody trying to get these cars up to speed. And it'll take them about a lap to do so, but that 2x2 formation, you won't see that really disintegrate at all, at least not over the course of these first handful of laps, as this is really the point where everybody's battling, trying to fight for anything you can get. Devin Ray on the outside, trying to get some momentum going for Malik Ray. Nothing doing yet as Ethan Eckert is going to be able to give Garrett Maine the surge out in front as they work off into turn 3. Still 2x2 throughout the entirety of the pack. Very uniform right now, except for one car already off the pace, and that is Jimmy Emos. Christopher McCullough with an issue as well. As a matter of fact, the 94, from what scoring is showing, is somehow already being shown a lap down for me. We'll see if that's accurate or not, but tough break for those two cars. Already fallen off pace. Garrett Maines with a big wiggle, but he is, well, thought he was going to hold on to the first lap lead. It looks like Malik was able to steal it right at the line with that push there, and now that'll get the one clear. Thanks to the assist from Devin Ray. Landon Veliky now moves up to the lead pushing position on the outside. Garrett Maines will take over that lead pushing position on the inside. And the 2x2 action early, really where everybody gets a feel for it. We got talked about, I don't want to say a couple of new drivers, but certainly a couple of drivers we haven't seen in a while that are back in the field here tonight. Most notably, Jason Maines, of course, who we talked about at the start of the broadcast. And then Adam Kilday, who currently runs second on the outside in that 85 Toyota Supra. As Devin Ray looks like he's had enough early here. Was leading the outside, but the Jack Shack entry is going to head to the back here. We'll see if he's trying to find any of his teammates or if he just feels like he wants to kind of coast around right now and just wait till we get to either the stage break or the first pit stop here. For Devin Ray, I mean, that's not a bad choice. We say it each and every week, and yet it seems like these guys forget. You don't have a fast repair in this series. So if you tear your stuff up early, that's too bad. You're done for the night. So you see Malik Ray get another big shot right there. The back bumper. Veliky's trying to get him back clear. Garrett Maines here further back. Matthew Baker, Jeff Merck, Dawson Wise. That trio getting hooked up. Dawson not a teammate to Baker and Jeff, but I wouldn't be surprised if that 9 car decides to go with them. And of course, Jeff and Baker, 2 teammates. Baker already looking good to make a playoff appearance. Not quite as concerned about the regular season championship as maybe he was last season. Right now, and we heard this last time we got the interview, was his goal is just try to help Mirko Triscaro find a way into the playoffs. I mean, it has been anything but a good season for the number 60 and the number 34. And, of course, for Michael Triscaro, not here tonight. Doesn't have his rig back, so it's looking like for Michael Triscaro, his chances of making it to the playoffs this season after making it to, I believe, the championship last season, just isn't quite going to play out. Jeff Merck, though, still big opportunity for him. As, we already see one off way down the racetrack. Now that's going to split him 3 wide. Oh, there they go. We're going to get one around now. Eckert, he's trying to hold on. He'll turn Mullahan back in up the track. And now the caution will finally come out as the 2-car slides through the grass. For John Mullahan, he'll be able to get it back rolling. We saw Ethan Eckert. He sustained some damage. Did anybody else is the question. Like Eckert got most of his damage in the back of the car. We'll go up to him here in just a moment. We'll see if anybody else got involved here further back. Doesn't appear so. And for Ethan Eckert, you see the front of his Ford Mustang is nice and cleaned up. Fortunately, though, it's the rear end that's got the issue there. Certainly shows there was some contact. How exactly that contact occurred is the big question, though, so let's go back and take a look at it. Early trouble has been the theme over the course of the last few weeks. Of course, besides, I guess I should say last week, which was pretty clean in the first stage. And it all starts here with these front two. So we'll go up first to Garrett Maines and Malik Ray here. And so you've got Malik leading the outside. He's going to get a big push here from Landon Veliky. And watch it from the chopper view. This is coming off of turn 2. Car is kind of unloading. It gets back set, and that just looks like a case of a little bit too much pushing going on there from out back. They start to get stacked up more than just 2 cars, and once Kilday starts getting into Veliky, it doesn't matter how much Veliky bails out of the throttle. He's getting pushed into Malik. That just leads to all sorts of problems. Watch the fire out of the pipes here. A little bit offset. I think Veliky's going to realize that, but Kilday lines Veliky up for a shot. See the fire out of the pipes for Kilday. Kilday's trying to get out of the throttle. He gets hit by Mullahan. That sends him into the 62 of Veliky, and since Veliky was technically lined up a little bit offset, when he gets that push from out back from Kilday, that fully kind of sends him in to the one of Malik Ray. And once he gets into the one of Malik, just gets him offset, can't ever quite get off of him. Malik somehow saves it. I mean, that's ridiculous to hold on to a race car like that. But in the process, he gets down into Garrett Maines. That sends a 12 off track. They save it. And then just guys all trying to fight for room instead of settling it back out here. It kind of looks like, I mean, for Cody, we'll hop on the onboard view here. I got to think that, you know, the assumption is he's looking here, and from his view, he thinks that they're getting ready to wreck up. So he's just in the gas trying to get through it. But let's see here. So he's going to see Garrett. Malik sees Garrett get dropped low, and then I'm not sure there. Like I said, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, I think Cody wasn't trying to obviously cause anything there, but for pretty much everybody there, I think that was a scenario where it would kind of have been better off if everybody would have just kind of calmed it down a little bit and tried to let each other sort it out instead of trying to split lanes and find gaps. But I'm telling you, I've been in the car before, and in a situation like that, it's chaotic. You don't know what's going to happen, right? You think that, you know, all you know, that 12 car could be coming up the racetrack, so you're trying to shoot through it as quick as you can here, and once Cody gets in the middle, he gets into the 62 of Veliky, his teammate, and that sends Veliky into the 12 of Ethan Eckert. And then the wreck's going to kind of really start to develop from here. You see Cody, he goes down the racetrack. I think he's okay, but then Eckert trying to save it. Gets back down into Mullahan. That turns a 2 up the track. Kyler Wynn somehow dodges it, as does everybody else, it appears. Jason Maines saw him sneak through that. Give you another look at this here from up top. And I mean, really, that wreck starting, I know we already broke down kind of how it happened, but I would argue that that's just kind of a case of really pushing and shoving with too many cars. We always hear you can push with the lead car, and if you do it perfect on the backstretch, sometimes you can get away with a 3-car tandem. But with this new package, 4 is just way too much, and looked like once they started bumping each other 4 cars deep, that was when things started to get out of hand, and eventually it just kind of snowballed into what ultimately led to that first wreck of the night. And John Mullahan kind of presumably getting the most damage out of this. Show you another angle of this here. Watch it from the zoomed-in view. The 2-car goes back up. Nobody hits him. Kyler dodges high. The 23 is also going to sneak by high. Jason Maines goes by high. We had one dive low. So while that saves everybody else, it also saves, of course, John Mullahan and the damage that he would have sustained if he would have been involved a little bit more than he was. As there's the view from the turn 3 entry cam. 3 and 4 is going to show a couple of them slide into the picture here, as multiple cars had a detour through the grass. But all in all, for your first caution, certainly could have been a whole lot worse. Ethan Eckert back into the pits. Going to maybe get a little bit more damage fixed up, top it off on fuel. And this caution puts everybody at kind of an interesting spot. 7 laps complete. We know that the stage break should be at the end of lap 20, so it'll be at the start of 21. And the reason that's important here is because we're going to go back green with 8 laps complete. And so that puts us with, I believe, right around 13 laps to go on the stage. I believe everybody, at least who topped off, maybe even if you didn't top off, as long as you're saving under this caution, should be good to go on fuel. Now, that's certainly going to ramp up the aggression. And also, the fact that we got a lot of drivers up here that still need stage points is going to contribute to that as well. Points haven't officially been updated, at least in terms of the graphic. You can still find them on Sim Racer Hub in the Discord. But the general idea, as it stands, and again, we won't know the official top 16 till next week. We know that Daniel Eberhard, of course, won last week. That is not a driver fighting for the playoffs, so he doesn't really count. Garrett Maines, Matthew Baker, Matt Lee, Christopher McCullough, Joe Herta, and Andrew Navarro all have themselves locked in right now. And so with that being the case, then you turn your attention to stage winners. Garrett Maines had 3, and then Matthew Baker had 4. So good news for those two this season. Andrew Navarro had a pretty good stage last week as well, but the important point to remember tonight is the drivers around the cut line. Jeff Merck, 2 spots out right now of making that top 16 and making the playoffs. He sits 4th. You know he's going to be looking for some stage points here, and he's in a good position to do it, but still a lot of laps left in this stage. Mark Vondell, 1 spot below the cut line. John Ward, Richard Elliott, both 1 and 2 spots above the cut line. You look back a little further, Trevor Osranoff, Evan Carlbahn, Michael Triscaro. We know Triscaro's not going to make it. Evan Carlbahn, I don't believe that we saw him in the field here tonight. We don't, so we know his chances probably aren't going to happen. Trevor Osranoff for the Jack Shack. He needs some stage points. He sits in 6th. He's got a good opportunity here. All right, here we go. Green flag back in the air, and it was a good restart for the 5 of Matthew Baker. Got the big jump on the inside there. And that is thanks to the push from Garrett Maines, who sent him off into turn 1. Fire out of the pipes as telemetry will show these drivers still working through the gears. They are now officially into that 4th and final gear. And these H patterns is, oh man, boy, was that a big wiggle from Matthew Baker right there on the inside. And that's the problem. A lot of drivers don't think about it. And maybe I shouldn't say they don't think about it, but you don't really realize it till it happens. You're trying to push the guy in front of you. You're trying to help him make as much momentum as possible. And it's great. If you make the push work, it works out. Your lane runs faster than the other lane. The problem is if you push a guy just a little bit too offset, a little bit out of shape, and that gets him loose, that kills the momentum. And that's almost what we saw right there from Matthew Baker down the backstretch on the inside. Luckily, though, Garrett was able to size him back up, gave him another big push, kept that 5 car out in front. You saw him controlling the field as he was able to jump up to the top there for a little bit before he ultimately jumped back down. And for Matthew Baker, he wants a little redemption after last week. I'm certainly sure he didn't like the way that race ended, getting pushed by Logan York and ultimately kind of turned by Logan York there, coming out of turn 4 on that final lap. Baker wasn't too happy about it, couldn't blame him. And so certainly don't see the same wheel movements we saw on that last lap right now. Things a little bit calmer at the front. But Matthew Baker, as always, we appreciate him carrying one of our onboard views. And then just a little bit further back, currently sitting in that 4th spot. Oh, hold on to it. Here we go. This is another close call. Can everybody save it right here? It looks like they do. Further back, though, this is going to pan him out 3 wide. Looks like the 23 of Chris Walker. He's trying to get back on the racetrack. Oh, man, that's going to put him 4 wide as the 0-2 sneaks through the middle. That's Logan York. Oh, my goodness. These guys are making me nervous. Close call, but 4 wide goes back down to 3. And it might be getting ready to go back down to 2 as now Nagels and York going to make a little contact here off of turn number 2. And so as they settle that back down, we turn our attention back a little bit further towards the front, where we find Dawson Wise, who as it stands right now is up 14 positions from where he started this race at. Stage points don't necessarily mean much, I should say, to Dawson Wise, but can certainly maybe try to help out one of his Nightmare Esports teammates here at the stage, or just set himself up, get good track position, and of course, be ready to fight for that final stage where the money's on the line. As, oh man, you saw that big push on the outside, and for Dawson Wise, that had to make his heart probably skip a beat right there. Anytime you see that outside line, a driver getting a big run up, you are afraid that you're going to see that car on the outside line get hooked down left. But here we go, Matt Lee looking up high. He's got Jeff Merck with him, and now they're going to try a little bit more as they get a 4th lane working. That's Logan York on the high side. We got one dropping back even further. We'll see how long they keep this up. Still 4 wide, just 11 of 60 laps complete. Now officially halfway through, actually a lap over halfway through stage number 1. Looks like as Cody Nagels goes back to the 3rd, that'll force Logan York to bail. Out of the 4th, he'll go back down to the 3rd, now the 2nd. And that leaves just Merck and Lee all by themselves on the outside. Looks like Nagels is going to try to help. Oh, man, Chase Mastretta through the grass. Can the 8 save this one? Yes, he does. Mastretta's going to be able to drive it back up on the racetrack just to the inside of Jared Haynes. And yet again, another close call. I mean, we're not late in a run. This is not tire issues. This is just everybody running really, really hard, pushing that envelope a little bit further. And, man, something might give here before we get to that stage break. Trevor Osronoff for the Jack Shack. We talked about how important stage points are to him here tonight. And he knows that because right now he is second, pushing Malik Ray on the outside. Here comes John Mullahan and Jeff Merck. Mullahan was just involved in that last incident, but didn't have to use a fast repair, and so he's got himself pretty much right back to where he was before he got involved in that incident. And for Trevor Osronoff, boy, I feel like this has got to be a really good position to be in because he's got a teammate in Devin Ray behind him, so if they're able to get Malik Ray clear, that sets the Jack Shack up to be in pretty good position. Even if they don't get him clear, that top lane is available coming to the stage break here. Who knows? Maybe Trevor thinks about jumping out. He's got a little bit of a different scheme here tonight with the camouflage. Number 89 Toyota Supra. As now that third lane going to draw even. John Mullahan, he wants a piece of Malik Ray and Matthew Baker, and he might get it here going off into turn 3. Jeff Merck pushing that 2-car for all it is worth, and the question now is who runs out of temps first. The inside and the middle, they've been pushing for a while, but this third lane has had to do a little bit more pushing just to get to this point. For Matthew Baker on the inside, there's nothing he can do right now. He wants to control, but he's not clear yet. Now he does. We'll see if he jumps up. Sure enough, he does. So Malik Ray will pick up some draft and now push the 5, and every time that happens, boy, that just kills the third lane because, Jeff Merck, the goal here was to get Mullahan clear Malik to jump down so Jeff can cool, but when Baker jumps up like that, Jeff can't really push the 2 anymore. He's out of temps, and he knows that they're not going to have the run, so he's going to try to cool it off here just a little bit, and then he'll try to size up the 2 again here, probably off into 3, and then on the front stretch, see if they can't get this run regenerated and re-going again. Well, if you're just tuning in, we appreciate you being here, and if you've been tuning in, we appreciate you sticking around. As you are watching again, Race 12 of Tuesday Night Thunder. Oh, man, another close call. Trevor Osronoff with a big wiggle in the middle, and now Devin Ray. Does he save it as well? Yes, he does. And, man, that was Mullahan. Looked like that car was creeping down a little bit. Him and Osronoff got connected just briefly. But, man, Trevor was able to drive off with the right rear neck code, and Mullahan was able to give him some spaces. Now we see York wiggling around just a little bit in the middle. He runs to the inside of Kyler Wynn, a little bit further back. We're going to see a couple others try to jump up here. Some of the drivers sitting at the back right now, they've got to be wondering what in the heck is going on as you see Dylan Jones just kind of hanging around right now on the outside of the 8 of Chase Mastretta. And by the way, Dylan Jones saw at least when the session was joining, unless something's missing here. Notice that he's got a new license, shiny new license, next to the I rating for the 11, so congrats to Dylan Jones on the recent promotion to a pro license. I'm not sure if that means that Dylan's competing in the Contender Series now or not, but either way, you get a pro license. It's a pretty big achievement for one of the drivers who's the best of the best at all tracks, especially super speedways. And here we go. Garrett Maines in the 12 gets split. Malik goes high. Osronoff, Devin Ray will follow. Ooh, Trevor's trying to follow him down. He does. Unfortunately, though, that'll leave Devin Ray up top and all alone. Maybe not for long, though. Here comes Jeff Merck. We'll see if Garrett decides to go with the 2 and the 60 here. Decent run from the outside. Is anybody else going to jump out? Not yet. Malik Ray trying to get back clear Matthew Baker to jump down, and he will do so as they work off into turn number 3. Dawson Wise third on the inside. How about Richard Elliott? We talked about one of the drivers who is just above the cut line. He needs a good run here tonight, and so far it looks like that's working out pretty well for Richard Elliott. He wants some stage points. We've heard Navarro say all season these stage breaks have not been kind to him. He sits third on the outside. Doesn't need the points, but he certainly would take him here. We'll see if the 44 can have a shot at this stage win here as we now close in on just 4 laps to go in stage 1. John Mullahan back to the high side. Actually, that's Cody Nagels. I take that back. But the 2 pink, black, and white machines of Mullahan and Nagels run side by side off the 2. Now Mullahan's going to try to split the 0-2. York is going to fade high here. So for Logan York, looking at that third lane, it's looking pretty good right now. The 44 of Andrew Navarro still third in the middle. Malik Ray on the inside. Trevor Osronoff talked about where he started on that restart, said he was in position to grab some good stage points. And boy, a stage win is about as good as it can get. Certainly would help that 89. And we know that these races, they only have one stage break, so you only have an opportunity to get stage points once. Now Garrett's going to split him. They're going to be 3 wide as they cross the line. Just 3 laps to go now here on the stage. Malik Ray still leads the bottom. Trevor Oswald in the middle, and it's Garrett Maines up top with Logan York. Cody Nagels and Jeff Merck have fallen back just a little bit. That outside really needs the cavalry to arrive soon, but they just can't seem to get there. Watch for one more to jump out. Sure enough, it'll be the 82 of Kyler Wynn. Nagels sees that. He's going to jump back low. Ozranoff gets a big shove from Navarro. He'll get clear off into 3 in front of Malik Ray. And if you're Malik now, what do? Do you try to set up to push this 89 all the way back to the stage break, or do you try to push him and yourself clear to get one more shot at this? Well, they're going to have 2 laps to go, and Kyler Wynn, that's an interesting move right there. The 82 is going to split out 4 wide here. And really wanting to push the issue is the 82 of Kyler Wynn. He's going to have to jump back into the 3rd, though. Nothing doing there. Can Navarro find a way to get clear now the 89 of Trevor Oswanoff and jump down himself? Doesn't look like he'll be able to do anything just yet. Still 2 by 2 up front, 3 wide a little bit further back. Garrett fading on the outside, but he's got a little bit more help now. Still a 2 by 2 drag race between Oswanoff and Malik Ray as they work off into 3. Matthew Baker, Ethan Eckert, they're kind of trapped where they're at. Navarro still may have an opportunity to jump up if he wants to. And so now you start to wonder, who has more temps, the 44 car or the 5 car? Here comes the 9 of Dawson Wise. He's going to peel off. Looks like he'll get quite a few more takers to go with him. A couple of big lockups there. Joshua McCullough, Cody Nagels. I believe that's Landon Velicky, Chase Mastretta, Matt Lee, Ken McCullough Jr. And one more a little bit further back, Mike Davenport, all making a stop as it is now officially 1 to go on the stage. Oswanoff is clear of the bottom. Navarro, though, is going to jump back up top. Malik Ray, does he have enough temps to keep this 89 out in front? And Trevor's going to have to really hold on right here. Mullihan and Navarro are really rolling on the high side. Garrett's still trying something on this 3rd lane, but I don't know if he's going to have enough time or enough help to get there. See if Jeff Merck decides to fade high. Doesn't look like it. Now he will go to the 3rd. That 3rd lane will not get to the front in time unless some other people jump out. So far, it doesn't look like anybody has. Here we go. Final time off of turn 4 on the stage. Devin Ray's going to jump out. Will that kill the momentum on the outside? Malik Ray with another big push to the 89 of Oswanoff. Trevor wiggles and wobbles, but he's going to hold it together all the way back to the line, and he will grab the stage 1 win. And that's the start that you're looking for if you're the Jack Shack. Trevor Oswanoff, nicely done. And he inches himself a little bit closer now to that round of 16 picture, running where he is at. All right, 21 of 60 laps complete. We saw a couple of drivers actually peel off on that last lap as well. So interestingly enough, we're going to have some drivers that are going to try to flip the track position here. And again, we know that we're still going to have at least one more pit stop, potentially 2 in this final stage. We'll talk more about that once we get going. But for now, everybody's going to bring it down, fill it up on fuel, maybe take some tires, and then get back out and get ready for the final stage. So we're going to take our first break of the night. Stay with us. We'll be right back at Talladega.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point. But you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
3 by 3.
Almost all trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. Hard into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway with race 12 of season 5 for Tuesday Night Thunder. Stage 1 is complete. Pit stops are also complete. As the drivers now get lined back up, we're getting ready to get the one-to-go signal. It is Joshua McCullough who's being scored as your leader. Trevor Oswinoth, your stage winner, in second. And I was trying to see if we could get a word with him, but I do not see him in the Discord, so maybe in a hidden channel somewhere. But nonetheless, Trevor Oswinoth with a good start to this race. Boy, if he's looking for that first win of the season, now's the time to get it in clutch time. Then you've got Malik Ray back in third, John Mullahan fourth, Devin Ray in fifth, Brock Westmoreland 6th, with Chris Walker back in 7th, Andrew Navarro 8th, Ethan Eckert 9th, and Jared Haynes rounding out your top 10. It's like Baker's mom says, show us what the license plate looks like. And I'm assuming that you're referring to the Dylan Jones, the pro license that I mentioned. Unfortunately, I don't believe I can actually show that. Yeah, because it's not an actual license plate. It's a license itself. So, I mean, for anybody that doesn't know, I'm sure most people watching do, but iRacing has a license systems. Everybody starts out as a rookie class driver, and you got to advance via safety rating and iRating to get up through the license. So it goes rookie class, then on to D class, then it's on to C class, and then B class, A class, and then it's pro class. And the highest one, of course, is pro world class. And each one has its own color. Purple is the one for pro, and then I believe it's kind of I think it's like a black or grayish color to represent pro/world class. But if you're curious more so about what the actual car looks like and the banner for these Contender Series drivers and a couple of former Coke Series drivers that are looking to make it back in to next season, look no further here than Garrett Main's Malik Ray. And you can see Malik, for example, he's got that Contender Series banner on the front windshield there on that sun strip. I know the sun's kind of beating off of it right now, but there you can see it where it says Contender Series. And then on the side of that race car, he's got a couple of the Contender Series logos, and I don't know if you can see it, but it's right just to the left of the number 1. And so again, those drivers were former Coke Series drivers, so they were pro world class license, but currently they are back to pro license for the moment while they are in the Contender Series, all looking to see if they can get promoted back again to the Coke Series, and of course world class licensed drivers. But either way, when it comes to super speedway racing, maybe we need our own licensing system, because half these drivers in here, I think, could fit the pro category for that. All right, here we go. 23 of 60 complete. Green flag back in the air. The final stage at Talladega is underway. So it's a good restart for the 89 of Trevor Oswinoth. Actually beat Joshua McCullough off towards turn number 1. Trevor getting a push from Joshua McCullough's teammate John Mullahan here. We'll see if the outside's able to hold that momentum off of 2. Doesn't look like it, though, because as it stands right now, it looks like Trevor's going to get back to him here. But I thought Joshua McCullough had a chance to get clear and potentially jump up here. We'll see what the 05 does. Malik Ray, you know he's going to push the 05 off into the corner. And there you go. Joshua McCullough gets clear. Does he choose to jump up, though? Looks like the answer for now is a no. He will stay tucked to the inside. The one of Malik Ray still doing all the pushing. Devin Ray, he's up here as well, third on the inside. And Chris Walker, another one of the Jack Shack entries that we have not seen kind of on a full-time basis this season, but we've certainly seen him on a part-time basis. And anytime Walker's out here, you know he's going to have a good run. And right now, he finds himself up 14 positions, make it 15 from where he started this race at. Don't look now, but here comes that third lane. The 2 NBG Motorsports teammates, Matthew Baker and Jeff Merck, and now looks like the 44 of Andrew Navarro. He will jump out as well. Joshua McCullough, he'll try to counter that by jumping up to the middle. This will give Malik Ray a chance to cool off here, at least just for a little bit. The 89 of Osronoff, if he gets clear, does he jump down? Does he stay up? Does he look to the third lane? Looks like, oh man, he got into Josh. Oh my goodness, what a save from Joshua McCullough. The 05 got turned down the banking. And you do not do that here. Holy cow, what a save from Joshua McCullough. They hold on for now as the 89 will get clear, but now they're going to door bang again. This time it's the 2 of John Mullihan. May have gotten hit from somebody in the third lane. Boy, these guys are really starting to squeeze each other. They're finally going to space it out just a little bit, but man, you talk about close calls. It does not get much closer than it was for Joshua McCullough over here in 3 and 4. As watch this. It's just going to be Trevor trying to push Josh and push it in the corner. We talk about the risk. Trevor's got a bit of a run. He's going to tap him right there in the left rear. And man, Joshua McCullough, big save right there to get it back to the left, but not overcorrecting. And turning right back up into the field. So they all save it. They stay 3 wide. Matthew Baker up top with his teammate Jeff Merck. Looks like Kyler Wynn, he's ready to join the party as well. The 82 has hopped on the bandwagon in that third lane, as has the 12 of Ethan Eckert. And so you've got 4, 4, and 4 on the inside, middle, and outside right now. Jared Haynes, Garrett Maines, the last 2 in the middle lane, and the inside pretty much extends all the way to the back of this lead pack. By the way, that caution, we talked about it grouping everybody up, and it helped just about all drivers. The only one that we see off pace right now is Adam Kilday, as it's currently Cody Nagels, the man at the back of this lead pack. And for Adam Kilday, I'm not exactly sure what the issue is, as Kilday wasn't involved in a wreck, so again, not sure what happened, but either way, again, he is currently being scored in the 30th position, as Matthew Baker continues to roll that high side, but it does look like the third lane maybe starting to fade out just a little bit here. Ooh, Baker and Brock, a little bit of contact there further back. The lead's still pushing Joshua McCullough for all it's worth. Can Trevor get clear? Yes, he can. The 89 is going to drop to the inside, is now the 44 of Andrew Navarro. He'll get another look in the middle. 2 by 2 up front, 3 wide a little bit further back. Matthew Baker, Jeff Merck. Those two have really been the catalyst for this third lane pretty much all day. Jared Haynes, if he gets clear, or Garrett Maines, you wonder if those two would consider jumping up, but it's not going to matter because it won't happen here. As it looks like the 82 and the 94 are going to get some momentum back to this third lane. A little bit further back, how about the 67, Jimmy Emos? He's going to now try to jump to that high side as well. Eckert moving back to the middle, and then we've got this single file group. And I wonder if some of these drivers are saving some fuel. Now, we went back green with somewhere right around 36 to 37 laps to go. That's a 2-stop. I mean, there's just absolutely no way with the fuel these guys get in these cars that they're going to be able to make that on a 1-stop. So it's definitely a 2-stop, and so that makes me wonder if this group back here is more so just taking it easy and trying to avoid a caution. As, of course, RMR eSports, they're probably okay with this setup because they've got all 4 of their teammates lined up here in a row. So when it's time to pit, they'll all be together. That's Velikey, Dawson Wise, Matt Lee, and Cody Nagels. In front of them, you got a couple of veterans in Logan York, Ken McCullough Jr., Richard Elliott, Chase Mastretta, Mark Von Dell, Dylan Jones, and then Steve Sizemore, the only Hyper Motorsports driver in the field here tonight, trying to represent as Mike Davenport. There's Jason Maines. Little update on how the driver's doing, who we have not seen in quite a while. Right now, he's got himself in pretty good position, just outside the top 15. He's down 6 from where he started, but again, just playing it safe right now. He sees the 3 wide in front, wants no part of it. Because again, unless you're a driver who really is fighting for any point you can get, you know, leading the most laps, of course, going for that stage win, and try to be in position the entire rest of this run for the end, I don't think you want to be up here, because no fast repair, it only takes 1 and you're done. So we keep seeing these guys making these sketchy moves, dicing it up front. Well, if you're a driver that's in the back of this 3 wide action, you know you're not going to get to the front because it's a gridlock. So no point putting yourselves in harm's way, potentially getting involved in an incident that you can't come back from. And don't forget, there is individual payouts in this race. So these drivers aren't just fighting to make it to the playoffs, but they're still fighting for top 5, top 6 payout here tonight. Joshua McCullough continues to lead this inside. The 89 of Trevor Osnoff continues to lead the outside. 31 of 60 laps complete. Officially a lap over halfway now. So you saw Osnoff wiggle just a little bit right there in the middle. Navarro still pushing for all it's worth. 7C's event says Jones is contender this year, and Jones was a Coke Series driver in the past. Yeah, certainly can see it. We've seen how good Dylan is on not just super speedways, but a bunch of tracks. And then also forgot to, of course, mention that Andrew Navarro, of course, a previous Contender Series driver. I'm not sure if Andrew's back in it this season or not. I didn't see. I don't think I saw the pro license next to the 44 car, but Navarro has been in it for multiple seasons in the past, I believe. As you can, of course, see that banner on his car. So for the 89 of Oswornoth, still leading on the inside of the racetrack. The 5 of Matthew Baker still leading on the outside. The 44 of Navarro in the middle. The 2 of John Mullihan a little bit further back. Brock Westmoreland, Jared Haynes. Garrett Maines, boy, he really has not been able to find anywhere to go in this pack since we got 3 wide. And that's something that you probably don't hear us saying too often, is that Garrett's kind of stuck in the back, but that's what it is. And I don't know if Garrett's just had enough or what, but he's finally just decided to jump to the inside here. Maybe going to see if these 3 lanes can shuffle back down to 2 and try to size up another move from there. But for now, 12 did hop back to the inside. Now he's going to look back to the outside. Chris Walker, Devin Ray, 2 of the Jack Shack entries there lined up, nose to tail there on the inside. About 4 and 5 cars back. And oh, man, contact. Trevor Osnoff, hold on to it. Is anybody going to let him up here? Oh, boy, Joshua McCullough's trying to give him room. Now Navarro's going to get turned onto the apron. 4 wide, hold your breath here. And they've all got to get it back down. And, oh, man, Osnoff. Oh, there they go. Joshua McCullough's going to get turned. Trying to save it. Can Navarro hold on as well? The 44 is trying. He does save it. Unfortunately, though, he's going to lose the pack as he has to go through the grass. Malik Ray will also hold on. And further up, Matthew Baker loses his help. Jeff Merck's going to jump to the inside. They are rolling up top. Kyler Wynn, Christopher McCullough. They're going to get clear. At least Kyler will. He'll jump down. Mullihan's going to jump a lane lower. And so somehow they all managed to save that one. But here we go. Let's watch this again. Go further back here. All right, so here we go. Watch this coming off of 4, and things are going to get really, really dicey really quick here. We'll go bring you to the chopper cam before we speed this back up. And we had a couple of really close calls here on the front stretch. So the first contact here going to be right there where Joshua McCullough pushed on the back of Trevor Osnoff. Does he get him just a little bit offset? Maybe just a little bit right, but I mean, it's not much, if any. Either way, the push sends that 89 car to the right. He gets into Navarro. Now he's down on the apron. And this is where it gets awkward because they go 4 wide here. And Joshua McCullough, he's doing the respectful thing, right? He's trying to give Trevor Osnoff some room to hop up here. But at the same time, you know, Baker and Merck, they may not see what's happening, so they're still pinching this middle. Now John Mullihan, who goes to push Navarro, he's got him pretty offset right. And so when he pushes him right here, that's going to send the 44 down the track. Now Navarro's off. He's got to get back up. He starts to. They're still 4 wide. Mullihan just not, again, I don't know if he realizes that the 44's down there, but just not really given enough room for both of those cars to jump up. Navarro going to try to, I think, let off here to get him behind Joshua McCullough, but Trevor Osnoff just not quite able to check up enough for that 44 in time. Gets into the back of him. That sends him into the 05 of McCullough. They both go for a big slide. McCullough saves it. He continues on. Navarro saves it. Malik Ray has to check up heavily to miss it, but still manages to do so. So again, really nice piece of driving by everybody right there to hold on and save that one. And boy, has that shuffled some things up front now as we go all the way back to the front of the field here. John Mullihan, Kyler Wynn being scored as your leaders, but the lead pack has thinned out a bit now as Joshua McCullough, the last car in this lead group. And looks like he's going to make a pit stop right here, actually. Seems a little early for the 05, but he will indeed bring it down. So now that'll make the last car in this lead pack Jimmy Emos, who currently sits in 15th, up 15 positions from where he started this race at. And you've got Matt Lee in 16th, and this is the group that's trying to catch that lead pack. And I mean, boy, if you were looking for drivers that know how to do it, look no further. Matt Lee, Cody Nagels, Landon Velicki, that's 3 Nightmare Esports teammates lined up in a row. You know they're going to be doing a lot of pushing and shoving. And as it actually stands right now, the gap between them and Jimmy Emos, 2 seconds, but it has been closing. Remember, all they got to do is get to within 1.5 seconds, and they will be able to catch that lead draft. Adam Kilday in that 3rd lane. Kilday's going to stay to the high side here as this lead pack will work around him. Going to be coming to 24 laps to go when they cross the line this time. Again, still at least 1, potentially 2 pit stops that we are expecting. You figure, you know, 25 laps to go. That puts us somewhere right around 35 laps complete. We went back green with 24. So I would expect pit stops here in probably the next 3 to 5 laps or so. the question's going to be who decides to come down first. Who comes down with who? Because, of course, that broke up quite a bit of the teammates. Now, if Cody and company can get back up here, which they will, and looks like they actually have, they caught the 85 at Kilday. They'll use him as a bit of a bridge card here as they shoot to the inside. And so once this group catches up, they're going to have a choice to make. Do they want to take the run, or do we maybe see some pit stops once they get there? We're going to see some pit stops here, and it's going to be from the group further up here. How about this? Quite a few drivers that are going to bring it down. Looks like actually it's going to be mostly the Jack Shack with Chris Walker, Devin Ray, Trevor Osranoff, and then Mike Davenport for PGR eSports. And the 55 looks like he also chose to bring it down this time. And so it's 23 laps to go for your leaders. That group probably didn't want to see the cars pit that picks. That kind of creates a little bit more of a gap, but they're still close enough where they're going to catch. As for Matt Lee right now, the gap is under half a second to Jimmy Emos and under a second to the back of Jason Maines. So we'll see if they pick up Emos here or if they decide to go around the 67. Either way, regardless of what they decide to do, we know that we still have a pit stop here just a few laps from now. We're going to see a few more pit off. Yes, we will. Looks like Jimmy Emos, he's also going to try to peel off and make a pit stop. We'll watch it out of the windshield here. Richard Elliott, and there's the group pitting from behind. Malik Ray and quite a few others. This was a big round of pit stops. This was most of the field, and they all got in clean. Nicely done. Oh, well, I thought they all got in clean. Emos, though. Oh, my goodness. That was a close call further back. Jimmy Emos, as he came back across track, almost cleaned out the 85 of Kilday. Nice avoidance there by Kilday, and as everybody works their way out here, we'll see who wins the race out. Garrett Maines with the first pit box. Will he get the lead out of the pits? Yes, he will. Garrett Maines leads him out, as there's the 7 of Jared Haynes, the 82 of Kyler Wynn, and the 12 of Ethan Eckert that follow behind. 3 drivers still out on the racetrack. It's Matt Lee, Cody Nagels, and Landon Velicky. And I would expect these 3 to most likely peel down to the pits this time around. Sure enough, there they go. So this will be their first of 2 green flag pit stops here in this final stage. And oh man, Mistretta just getting in way too hot. The 8 with a big lockup. I'll tell you what, if Mistretta got in right there without speeding, I will be absolutely amazed. There is no way that the 8 car should have been able to get down to speed right there as much as he was carrying towards the entry of the pits. But man, for Matt Lee, he'll slide into his box. Nagels and Velicky, 3 cars. They better hope that they all get out as clean as they got in, because if not, they're going to be in trouble. And look at that, Mistretta, he did get in clean. How impressive is that? As we see Dawson Wise in the pits, must have had a penalty or an issue, because as it stands, Dawson Wise is being scored back in 28th position. And also, he is currently not being scored on the lead lap either, so Dawson going to need a caution. But still, going to try to help out his Nightmare Esports teammates as well, I can hear the field in the distance roaring up. And sure enough, there they are. Garrett Maines is going to fly by on the outside. We'll see if they can tag on to the back of this group right here. Matt Lee going to give a little push here to Nagels, even though they're on the apron, trying to get back up to speed. We talked about it takes these cars half to 3/4 of a lap realistically to get up to full speed. But if you've got some pushing from out back, can maybe do it just a little bit quicker than that. That might be exactly what we're seeing right now. But Garrett Maines currently your leader, and now looks like Kyler Wynn, he wants the lead as he's going to jump to the outside. He'll jump up in front of the 4 of Brock Westmoreland. Garrett Maines getting pushed by Jared Haynes. This is the highest running position we've seen Jared in all night. The 7 car for the Jack Shack with a great run going with just 20 laps to go. Trying to find his first victory of the season. Kyler Wynn, he'll now jump back to the bottom. Got clear. Garrett Maines thanks to the assist from Brock Westmoreland, but we'll see if Garrett decides to jump back up here. Ooh, Garrett's looking for it. Is Kyler going to block? No, he won't. The 82 tried to follow the 12 up, but he's going to dump off to the inside. Here comes Malik Ray and John Mullahan. Big run with the 2-car tandem further back. Jones and Eckert got briefly tangled up. They both had to bail out of the throttle. They all save it, but man, I'm telling you, that first round of pit stops looked like it had thinned the herd out just a little bit as we were down to 12 cars, but Nagels, Lee, looks like Velicky and Chase Mistretta were able to hang on, and the group behind them was able to hang on to them. Logan York, Ken McCullough Jr., Chris Walker, Trevor Osranoff, and Devin Ray. So we're going to see what was a bit of a smaller lead pack turn into a bigger lead pack yet again here in just a moment. And all that momentum from out back is going to have to go somewhere, or it's going to have to check itself up. Still 3 wide up front, but it is Garrett Maines who finds himself back on point. 19 laps to go, and again, the fuel window, at least from what we expect, should open probably sometime around 15, 14. If you're going to play it safe, I'd say more so 12 or 13 laps to go. But of course, you can go a little bit further than that. And so, as it stands right now, we still are expecting one more green flag pit stop. The bigger question being, can we get there and can we keep it clean? Christopher McCullough, you see him now back out in front in a 94 car. And Chris, of course, with a season that was really not going his way until he got that win to turn everything around, got himself locked in. And now for Christopher McCullough, it's just chasing trophies and chasing a little bit of extra money before we kick off the playoffs. Garrett still in the middle. Kyler Wynn looking to make a bit of a resurgence here on the bottom. And I'll tell you what, that inside is not very organized, at least not yet. Looks like Eckert's going to try to get Haynes a little bit uncomfortable here to make him push Kyler. That third lane, though, is the most organized of them all. A little bit of a bad push, though, right there. Gets the 94 briefly sideways. And remember what the track temp was starting this race. Well, it has creeped up just a little bit now at 100. And so as the tires are going to be continuing to wear out here, we know that they probably won't have time to necessarily take two on that final pit stop. And so as the tires continue to wear out and they'll just get worse, this is where I think handling could start to become a bit of an issue. We've already seen it be an issue a couple times here tonight. I think you're really going to see it be at its worst probably after we get after we get through this final green flag pit stop, which is still probably at least a handful of laps away or so. So as Garrett Maines continues to lead and they continue to stay 3 wide up front, we're going to take another quick break. We'll go side by side so you can still see all the action. Stick with us. We'll be back at Talladega.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point. But you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing. Three by three. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Before we go back to full screen, did want to show everybody what the payouts were looking like here tonight. 145 to first. Looks like 100, I believe that's 100 to second and 100 to third. Yep, sure enough, 85 to fourth, 80 to fifth, 65 to sixth. We'll talk more about that here in just a second. See a few of the pit stops underway. And then $120, of course, going to the championship. And it looks like this first round of pit stops is going to be from the RMR eSports teammates. Looks like that's Cody Nagels, who leads them in. Matt Leland, Veliki, Chase Mastretta, Dawson Wise, and Ken McCullough Jr. from McCullough Motorsports also following these guys in. So with 13 laps to go, I think this may start to kick off the cycle. The big question is, how does that lead pack respond? We've seen such different philosophies on how everybody approaches this. Some guys say no, let's just run it out now. Other drivers say we need to go in soon since that lead group just made a pit stop. I mean, we're going to be coming to 12 laps to go. So, again, everybody is now well within that window to make it to the finish and at least for probably one overtime. As here we go. We are going to get a few more that will peel off. Looks like it's going to be Kyler Wynn, Ethan Eckert, Jared Haynes, Logan York, Chris Walker, and the two of Devin Ray. They all get in just as clean as that first group did. But it's always interesting watching the different drivers and how they approach pits. And I'll tell you what, I think Ethan Eckert is one of the most aggressive pit entry drivers that I have seen, and all the time I've broadcasted at least super speedway racing. I mean, he sends it in there regardless of where he's running at, regardless of if he can afford to be conservative or not. And usually it pays off, but sometimes you just push that limit a little too far and get yourself a speeding penalty. Oh, man, Christopher McCullough's going to get turned around. Can he keep it off the inside wall? He does as he goes for a slide, doing a little bit of drifting through the grass here. The 94 is going to save it up front. Leaders, I would think they're going to have to pit here after this chaos, and yeah, they're going to try to do so. Man, they're spreading out every which way. Malik Ray, Matthew Baker had to split Richard Elliott. Malik's going to drive it in deep. Open it sticks. Looks like it does. Garrett with a big lockup. Dylan Jones, he gets in okay. And Christopher McCullough, I would assume he brings it down this time. Yeah, sure enough, he does, but unfortunately, this is probably going to cost him his position here. As what happened to Chris right here, he was in the lead. Usually, you think it's the safer spot. That's his teammate, John Mullahan, on his outside. Garrett gives him just a little bit of a shot. Maybe slightly offset, right? Let's see. Yeah, just ever so slightly. And that push just gets the 94 a little bit out of shape, sends him to the right. John Mullahan's there, and once they make contact, it gets the 94 out of shape. Now Garrett's trying to get off of him, but instead gets him in the left rear. That sends Chris around. Does a really nice job, though, of keeping it off the wall. I know he's going to be frustrated right now, and of course, you hate to lose track position and potentially lose the race like that, but by him not having damage, if we get a late caution, which is very likely, he still is going to have a shot at this thing. Jason Maines will make his stop, and it'll officially wrap up the final round of pit stops here tonight. And look at this lead pack, or maybe I should say what is going to be this lead pack. It is going to be massive. That is going to set us up for a wild finish, and I'm telling you, a pack this big, it's a ticking time bomb. And right now, that timer's starting to run pretty low with just 11 laps to go. I don't know if I see these guys making it all the way to the finish clean. Not with what's at stake here tonight, especially for drivers that are looking to get a win here to potentially lock themselves in. Further back, you saw the 5 of Matthew Baker. He's going to jump up to the middle. Saw a lot of cars that had the opportunity to stay on that third lane, but I don't know if they just felt like the momentum wasn't going to be there or if there was something else, but they bailed out. And so now it's back down to 2x2 as they're going to work around the lapper, the 67 of Jimmy Emos. Oh, man, Kyler Wynn made a move up top. Is Eckert going to split him? Yes, he is, but will he get any takers? No, he will not. Ethan Eckert's going to learn the hard way on that one. And that's always the concern as a driver. Ooh, Walker, trouble for one of the Jack Shack entries out back. Can Chris Walker save this one? Similar slide to Christopher McCullough, and it looks like he does save it. But that's another car now that will lose the lead pack after an incident. And that big dent in the back of his bumper is going to tell you pretty much all you need to know here, that he had some help from out back. But was it a checkup or was it something different here for the 23 of Walker? So let's watch this. Oh, it's a big checkup on the outside, a massive checkup, as a matter of fact. Watch the outside line. There's the stack up as Baker gets to Kyler, and it just translates out back. Lee runs into the back of Walker, and that's what sends this 23 car around. Again, really nice job of keeping it off the wall, but unfortunately, that half spin and all that lost momentum did cost him this lead pack as they now go by one of the lappers. That's the 85 of Adam Kilday. And up front, Malik Ray, Kyler Wynn, the two drivers who it seems like always find their way to the front by the time we are at the end of a race. They work together, everybody knows it, and yet everybody still struggles to find a way around it. Watch how these two coordinate and watch the chemistry here over the course of these last 9 laps. Will they try to keep the lanes clogged? Will Kyler cycle and try to control both lanes? Or will it be Malik Ray who does the job? We'll have to find out, but Matthew Baker on the outside doing all the pushing, John Mullahan on the inside doing the pushing. And now you start to look for some of those drivers that how much a win could mean to them tonight. And I think the most notable one is got to be the 60 of Jeff Merck. Jeff sitting 4th on the inside. A win could really, really help him out here tonight. In fact, maybe arguably even would need a win. Although we did see a couple of drivers that were in, either with bad nights or that didn't make it, such as John Ward. So that could certainly play a factor as well. But either way, final race of the regular season. You got to think about the regular season championship. Garrett Maines trying to secure it, and he may have already secured it with how many points he had coming into tonight, but if there was any doubt, go out here and get a win, shut it all down. And for Garrett Maines sitting third on the outside, he is probably in the prime position here to jump to this third lane once he feels that there's enough momentum out there. And you see this second group here being led by Cody and Eggles. They are close enough. They're in drafting range, right? I mean, they're just over a second back, and really I'm not sure what the issue is here, if they're just waiting for the wreck. I mean, we heard last week in Cody's interview, he said he knows he can get up there when he wants to. It's more important just to keep the car clean until the end to have something to race with. And you certainly think that that could be a part of it right now with where he's sitting. So watch for that RMR Esports group if they make a run up here to potentially try to look to that fourth lane. We're going to be coming to 6 laps to go this time as Chase Mastretta is going to fade out of this pack. He'll fall back just a little bit as he's going to try to help his teammates make sure that they can indeed hold on to this lead pack. Jeff Merck on the inside, still nowhere to go. Kyler Wynn in the middle. And for Kyler, I'm not sure if this would be his first win of the season or not, but certainly looking to get to victory lane here tonight. And for Logan York, in the 0-2, boy, he would like a win here tonight. He's got the 12 of Ethan Eckert behind him, and the 3 of Ken McCullough Jr. up in that third lane as well. And man, I talked about it being a ticking time bomb, and I still think it is. It's just, I mean, we've been green for so long. Something's got to give here eventually. You know the drivers are going to continue to try to push more and more, and it only takes one bad push to pile them all up, especially if it's a push delivered to one of these leaders. Top back on board here with Matthew Baker in the number 5 car. And again, we look at the wheel movements, nice and smooth. Gets a little dicey there as he gets to the back of Kyler Wynn to give him a shot. The driver out of Magnolia, Texas, right now looking to see if he can get yet another win on the season. He's got to play the patience game. He knows that if he jumps out too early, could get hung and could potentially cost him a chance at it. A little bit further back, while not on the lead lap, still hanging and working with his teammates here, is Dawson Wise in the 9. He's trying to push Cody Nichols. They get there, and now they realize there's really nowhere else to go. And so Dawson's going to stay high. Cody decides to go back to the inside. You do see some damage on the back of that 6 as well. I think that was from some earlier contact. And man, how about that view that we just saw? This is a view of Devin Ray. He is right in the middle of it all, just behind his teammate there, Jared Haynes. And I mean, when you're in a spot like this and you see all the cars bouncing around, you're kind of committed. And he knows that if they wreck, they're going to wreck him up big time, and he might be in it. But for Devin Ray at this point, he's already committed. And so it's just try to hold the wheel straight, hope everybody else does their job. Boy, how about Matthew Baker? Able to get his way to the front as now Kyler's going to peel to the third lane. Boy, that was a bold move from the 82. Had to slam the door on Logan York, but it's going to be a big push and maybe a big payoff here if the 82 can hold on to it. Kyler Wynn ducks down for a bit of a side draft. Now Garrett Maines trying to draw back even to see if he can deliver a push here to the 5 of Matthew Baker. And how about that? All 3 lanes in unison, 2x2x2 tandem with just 3.5 laps to go here at Talladega. Matthew Baker gets clear. He's going to jump down. Kyler has to jump down as well. I'm not sure if Garrett was hoping to see it play out that way, but nonetheless, Malik Ray with some fresh temps here is going to have a chance to potentially push Baker all the way home. And again, we saw Matthew Baker in this position last week with 1 to go. What caused him to not win it is pushed in the corners. And, you know, a brief conversation about it post-race, but I just feel like it's got to be a little bit of that driver's responsibility that's doing the pushing to, you know, get close to that limit, but not step over that line, right? I mean, if you turn a guy, then did you really help him? I mean, you know, I know there's the mindset of you're pushing for everything it's worth, but you got to remember there's still 6 cash spots. So if I'm Matthew Baker last week, I'm pretty upset about the fact that, you know, I get hooked by Logan York off the track, knowing that we both had a chance for a good finish. Maybe Logan York even gets the win if they keep it clean all the way through, if he can somehow find a move, but instead, you end in a big wreck. And so Matthew Baker, you see him make that move back to the top. This will most likely be the final time that we see that 5-car hop back to the top. He's going to stay planted here, and he's going to hope that Kyler can get him back clear sometime with about 1.5 coming to 1 to go. And then if the 5 gets back to the inside, he will stay there probably for the rest of the race. Here we go, off into turn 1. 2 laps to go. This will be the final lap that we can get a caution if we are going to get one. Matthew Baker still on the high side in the orange and black Coasting Thunder Chevrolet. Malik Ray in the number 1 machine still on the inside, and now Kyler Wynn's going to split him. A lot of pushing and shoving out back. Watch this. This is going to get really, really dicey. Garrett Maines going to try to line Matthew Baker up for one more big push. And Kyler was able to get clear. The 82 drops down. Now there's a little bit of disorganization in the middle. They're trying to get grouped back up. Can they make it all the way back to the white flag to make this race official? Logan York still up top. Kyler Wynn in the middle. And it's Malik Ray on the bottom through the tribal. Will they make it? Yes, they will. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go in the final race of the regular season in Tuesday Night Thunder. Kyler Wynn still getting pushed for all it's worth. Matthew Baker's trying to push this 82 clear. He wants Kyler to drop down in front of Malik so that he can have a shot at it here. And oh, he may not get that shot. A brief wiggle there. They work on to the backstretch now for the final time. Matthew Baker still pushing Kyler Wynn. Oh, he lifted the car up a little bit. Now they're all going to try to save it. Matthew Baker on the inside. Oh, a little bit of contact. Are they going to wreck? Surely they can't hold on to it. They try to. Matthew Baker's still stuck in the middle. They're all going to hold on out back. There they go. They're going to wreck him up big time. Hard, vicious crash out back. Up front, Logan York, he leads the way. Can Ethan Eckert try to make a move? Eckert's still looking for the first win of the season. Now he goes to the inside. He goes below the yellow. York's going to try to drag race him all the way back to the finish, but it's going to be Ethan Eckert who's going to steal one at the line. Gets the push from Malik Ray, but are they going to call it back for going under the yellow? That will be the big question. We're going to have to go back and look at it. Unofficial scoring, Ethan Eckert is your race winner. But he did go under the yellow. So we'll have to see if he got forced down there or if he chose to go down there. As he's going to give a little hook there to Logan York. Brought home a third-place finish as Malik Ray was your second-place finisher. Boy, we got some stuff to cover in this last one, so you know what? We'll go back and look at it in a moment. We'll let Eckert bring it around, burn it down to celebrate. As he does so, we'll take a look at the results. Your race winner here tonight, again, as of right now, is Ethan Eckert. Gets the job done by 6/100ths of a second. Malik Ray finishes in second. Then it's Logan York rounding out the podium. Brock Westmoreland finishes in fourth. Garrett Maines back in fifth with Jared Haynes in sixth. Then you've got Chase Mastretta back in seventh, Landon Veliky eighth, Trevor Osmanoff in ninth, and Dylan Jones rounding out your top 10. Jason Maines finishes back in 11th. Matthew Baker in 12th. Devin Ray in 13th. Christopher McCullough in 14th. Mike Davenport back in 15th with Chris Walker in 16th. Andrew Navarro in 17th with Kyler Wynn after that last lap incident finishing back in 18th. John Mullahan 19th. Ken McCullough Jr. rounding out your top 20. Jeff Merck also involved in that last lap crash, finishes 21st. Cody Nagels finishes in 22nd. It's going to be Matt Lee back in 23rd with Josh McCullough 24th. Dawson Wise 25th. Mark Vondell 26th. Richard Elliott 27th with Jimmy Emos at 28th. Adam Kilday 29th. And Steve Sizemore rounds out the field. He finishes in 30th. All right, well, we got to go back and look at it. I'm just as interested as I'm sure everybody watching back at home is here. The finish. And was it a clean pass by Eckert? In terms of, clean pass, yes, that probably wasn't the best phrase for it. Was it a legal pass, I should say, by Ethan Eckert here? Now, remember, the rule is you can't go below the double yellow line. If you're forced down there, it's okay. The other part of the rule, I believe, is that you have to make an effort to come back up. And, man, I don't know about that one. That's going to be really, really hard to tell. We'll get an onboard view here. Now, he does make an effort to come back up here, so they might call it clean because it looks like he doesn't actually completely get by until he gets back on the racetrack. It's not like he stays back down. I mean, he obviously tries to get back up, and then at this point, it's just him getting a little sideways from the pushing that Malik's given. But right here is the question, right? And this view isn't as good, but watch this. Now, I know Malik's close, but he's not quite on his bumper yet. So watch, there's going to be maybe a little bit of contact here initially. Eckert's going to try to cover Malik. He does. Malik doesn't hit him right here. There's no contact. York goes to throw a block, but he still gives Eckert a little bit of room right there. It looks like Ethan does choose to go down, but he does come up. And man, that's just a call as a broadcaster. I have no clue how to make. But like I said, I mean, it looks to me like initially Ethan kind of goes down there. We'll watch it from the cockpit view. Let's see. Looks low, and yeah, I mean, from that angle, you see the left wheel turn. Like I said, there's room there. I know he probably doesn't want to hook Logan, but it just, from that angle, it kind of looks like the 12 takes himself down there. And we'll see what they decide to rule this here. And again, if we back that view up too, to show you what's going on out back here, there's Malik Ray. There's the potential push, but at this point, he's not pushing him. Look, he's not pushing him here. He's not pushing him. He's not quite pushing him. He's close, but he's not quite pushing him. So we'll have to get official word on what race control decides to call it. But then once he does get back up, Malik Ray pushing the daylights out of the 12, and Ethan Eckert finally able to come home victorious. Let's go back to and watch this last lap incident here, because this was kind of the other big moment here before we got to the checkered. And for Matthew Baker, was trying everything to get this 82 clear, and it was interesting because all of a sudden we saw the rear wheels on Kyler Wynn's car get jacked up, which is, again, a really interesting look, because that just doesn't happen in these cars, but it happened right here. So here we go. We're going to watch it probably from the chopper view, and they might have all been pushing through each other. Let's see. So watch up top here. There's Baker, and yeah, it looks like they've got a 3-car tandem going right here, and then just a little bit too much pushing right there in the middle. And again, you might be saying, you know, Baker with a bad push here. It looks like he gets stuck in Kyler Wynn's bumper here before they get off the turn. The question is, how long did that happen for? That is really interesting. Yeah, look at that. He had been getting kind of stuck in the 82's bumper here, right there, right here. See how he's kind of stuck in his back bumper? And it seems like it kind of stays that way a couple more times. Watch it here. I'll try to play it slow, see if we can zoom in at all. Yeah, that's not the best view there. We'll see if we can get a bit of a different angle, but watch this view right here. Look how he's inside the back bumper of Kyler Wynn. And, you know, when you're doing a 3-car push, it's already risky. And then once, you know, Baker's case, once he kind of gets hooked in the back bumper of Kyler Wynn, it's not going to matter what he really tries to do. You know, that's kind of going to happen. But it looked like initially they all saved it here. And now it's just going to kind of become a big clustered mess. There's some more contact. A couple cars that are going to get sent around. Look like one of them may have been John Mullahan. And then things are really going to unfold here as they work off of turn 4. Watch this. I mean, this is a vicious crash for Jeff Merck and a few others. There's Baker and Ken McCullough Jr. up into the wall. Baker's going to go around. Kyler Wynn, he gets turned. And then watch Jeff Merck here. 60's going to get hooked, and this is a huge hit for Jeff Merck. Watch this car. Bam, gets wedged into the wall. And look at that thing go. I mean, it does almost a backwards front flip just about before he lands back on all 4, and then got cars trying to drive through it. Dawson Wise runs into it, had nowhere to go. Baker's mom not happy with that push, says that was not a good push, son. Says it was straight but lasted too long. Well, there you go. Give you one more look at that last incident right there before we go back and see if we can get your top 3 for interviews. I just want to show you this wreck more so for Jeff Merck again. I mean, this was a massive crash. One of the biggest ones we've seen in a while, that's for sure. Here's the 60 getting propelled up into the air. And man, oh man. All right, well, we're going to go get official word on your race winner, and then we will bring your top 3 in for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Talladega. All right, there we go. Official word. Ethan Eckert is your race winner. Looks like Race Control and a few others have deemed that he was forced to go below the yellow. That Logan York kind of pushed him down there. So they have decided that, again, Ethan Eckert is your official winner. So let's go ahead and bring up the man of the hour, Ethan Eckert. Ethan, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
I do. How you doing?
Good. Well, it took us a little bit longer. We had to get it sorted out to figure out exactly if you were indeed the winner. We saw you get to the line first, but man, a lot of chaos that played out on that last lap. And tell us a little bit about coming to the checker there. We saw a move. Looked like you had to duck below the yellow, but then you come back up and you get a push from Malik to win it.
Yeah, I got beneath Logan and like just barely. I was barely there, and I thought he was going to come down and hook himself, so I decided to go down a little bit more, just trying to keep him straight and have a chance to still cash. And I came back up as soon as I knew I wasn't going to wreck anybody, and got the push from Malik for the win.
Well, man, it's been a season of trying. You had a couple weeks in a row where you finished on the podium. We saw a second place finish as well, but I mean, do you feel like there's been a difference, or was there anything different tonight, or do you feel like it just finally, things kind of all fell in place at the end?
Well, I mean, I got lucky with the wreck happening below me and them not coming up and killing me and Logan. That's for sure. But I didn't make any stupid moves. I played all my cards right at the end and got the win.
Indeed. Well, hey, before we let you head out, big win here tonight. So before you go celebrate, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, thanks to Malik for giving me that push to the end. Thanks to Logan for working with me that race and doing good. Thanks to you for broadcasting. I mean, you always put on a great broadcast, and thanks for putting us on. These are the best races of the week.
Thank you for talking to us. Ethan, congrats on the win, first of many, and we will see you next week.
Yep, thank you.
All right, now that's going to bring us up to your second place finisher, Malik Ray. Malik, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy.
Yo, what's up, man? How you doing?
Good. Well, again, you find a way to get yourself on the podium. Tonight, it's a second place finish, and you had the chance to push Ethan Eckert to his first win of the season. Tell us a little bit about your experience of that last lap, the big wreck, and then the decisions there coming off of 4 to the checkered flag.
I heard somebody's tires get jacked up off of turn 2 because I just heard someone's tires start spinning. So, like, I moved to the left because I couldn't see, like, I didn't know what the hell was going on that was on the side of me. So I moved to the left. I see John. I think John is the car behind me. He also moves to the left. I then look to my right, and I see that Baker's still giving me space. So I come back up on track, and then I don't know what happens in turn 3 to my outside. I just know that they all get hooked head on and stuff like that. And then out of turn 4, I had Ethan and York in front of me, and I mean, I wasn't going to leave the bottom because I honestly thought that they were just going to crash each other, which is, it almost happened, but it didn't happen. So I just stayed on the bottom. I just pushed, Ethan right there. And to be quite honest with you, it didn't really matter like who was in front of me out of turn 4. Like I was just going to stay bottom and push because I was just trying to do the safe thing. I didn't want to go up high and then I'm 2 and 3 wide and then I end up getting crashed. So I was just going to stay bottom there and push whoever was up in front of me. And it so happened to be Ethan.
Yeah, and the safe strategy pays off for you here tonight with that second place finish. A lot of drivers, I mean, they've been taking note of how good of a season you had. We know that you're not eligible for the playoffs this season. So what's the plan going forward into next season, and how do you kind of round out this season? How do you get yourself prepared to potentially run full-time next year?
Nothing, man. Just keep doing the same stuff. I try to be like conservative with all my moves and stuff like that. I try to just make sure that, I'm pushing the right people and the right people are pushing me, and hopefully it'll work out well.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Whatever you got going, it is working. So before we let you head out here tonight, Malik, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Shout out to John because he was helping me up there on the bottom. I know he was blowing up at the end of the race, so for him to be pushing me, as long as he was, I appreciate that a lot. Kyler, all of Jack Shack, and you guys for broadcasting, and Ron for putting on the series. I appreciate all you guys, so thank you.
Malik, thank you for talking to us again. Congrats on the second place finish, and hopefully we'll see you again next week.
All right, thank you, man. I'll see you later, bro.
All right, now that's going to bring us up to your final podium finisher, Logan York. Logan, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, what's up, Austin?
Well, you bring home a third place finish here tonight. Looked like you were in position to potentially get the win, but it doesn't quite end that way when you get to the line. When you're in a position like that, you're out in front, you got a big run coming behind you. I mean, was there any more you could have done there to try to hold off Eckert?
I guess I could have held it more to the bottom, but I have to go back here. I probably could have held it more to the bottom, but I kind of figured he'd make the move a little later, but I guess not. It's whatever. I don't really like being in the lead coming out of 4 because, people are going to do whatever they can to pass you. So, you're kind of just at their mercy at that point. But, yeah, I guess just held it more to yellow. But, it's still a solid day, I guess.
Yeah, a solid day indeed. And, Last week we saw all the chaos on the last lap. You were one of the lead pushers. This week you were the leader. But, I mean, we see these races, and we see kind of the same thing, I feel like, at the end of the race each and every week. And so, I mean, from your perspective as a driver, how do you kind of go about the last lap chaos? Do you have a plan in mind, or is it just everybody pushing for themselves?
If you're at the front, then you try to go to the bottom because, I mean, you're never. If you're in the front, you go to the bottom so that you can get clear, and then you can control. You can see in your mirror and then see which of the 3 lanes is getting run on you. If you're in the middle of the pack, I guess you just hope for the best in the middle or the bottom, and then if you're in the back, you go to the bottom so that if there is a big wreck, you can just go below the apron. But I was on the top, which is usually where I don't want to be on the last lap, but it actually worked out this time because they got a little loose on the backstretch, so just able to take advantage of it.
A good run indeed tonight. So, hey, Logan, before we let you head out to enjoy the winnings, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, I want to thank you guys for broadcasting. I want to thank Ron Morris Jr. for putting this race on. I want to thank my probably band group teammate Ethan Eckert for the assistance and the help on the top line there. Thank everyone that races and makes it possible. Thank everyone for watching. That's it.
And thank you for talking to us, Logan. Congrats on the 3rd place finish, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
All right, well, there you go. That is going to wrap up our coverage tonight from Talladega Superspeedway. Final race of the regular season. It did not disappoint. Ethan Eckert finally able to get the job done with a last lap. In fact, kind of last-ditch effort pass coming through the tri-oval as he beats out Malik Ray and Logan York coming to the checkered flag. Next week, we kick off the playoffs, so make sure you stick around for that. I'm not sure. We may actually have a break week. Whether we do or don't, we'll have updates for you on YouTube, so make sure you check in next Tuesday about that. As for tonight, thank you all so much for tuning in as always. That's it for me, Austin Green, here on PGR eSports, and until next time, have a good night.